My mind drifts back to that Christmas Eve so long ago, when nothing in our little home seemed wrong, and nothing in the world outside seemed right.
Amy, do put your sketch pad down for a moment and help us finish the tree.
Why isn't Beth helping with the garland?
Because Beth did most of the decorating before we came home.
I'll be glad to help. Just think how pleased Marmee will be when she sees it.
I finished it at last, and not a moment too soon if you ask me.
Joe, where have you been all this time?
Need you ask? Just look at what she's wearing.
Say what you like about my writing hat, but I've just written a closing scene for The Witch's Curse, which was a divine inspiration.
Well, we finished trimming the tree without you.
Christmas won't be the same without presents.
It's dreadful to be poor.
I can remember when we used to be rich.
I remember too.
It's not fair that some girls have plenty of lovely things, while other girls, prettier girls, have nothing at all.
We're better off than so many others, though. Orphans, for instance. We still have Father and Marmee and each other.
But we don't have Father, and probably won't for quite some time. Who can say how long the war will last?
Many families in the North and South will be missing their men this year.
The Army's having a dreadful winter. Supplies are scarce. Marmee's right when she says we shouldn't buy each other presents. We have to make some sacrifices, too.
I don't mind most of the sacrifices, but I am tired of remaking the same dresses year after year.
None of you suffer the way I do. You don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who label your father just because he's poor.
If you mean libel, just say so. And stop talking about labels as if Papa was a pickle jar.
I know what I mean, and you need to be satirical about it, to use good words and improve your vocabulary.
Vocabulary? Christopher Columbus, aren't we proper?
Don't, Joe. It's so boyish.
That's why I do it.
I hate rude, unladylike girls.
Joe, Amy, stop. Please.
And I hate affected little chits.
Birds in their little nest agree.
Really now, you're both to blame. Amy, your prim ways are funny now, but you'll grow up to be an affected little goose if you aren't careful. As for you, Joe, it's time to stop your boyish tricks. You turn up your hair now, and you should remember that you are a young lady.
I ain't. And if turning up my hair makes me one, well, I'll wear it in 2 tails until I'm 20. I don't want to grow up and be Miss March. I won't wear long gowns and be as prim as a porcelain doll. I just can't get over my disappointment in not being a boy. Look at me, dying to go out and fight in the war with Papa. And all I can do is sit at home and knit like some poky old woman.
Poor Joe.
Oh, I don't want your pity, because one day I'll be a famous writer and make a fortune writing books. Then I'll live and behave as I please. And Amy, you'll have dozens of dresses with satin and lace, and Meg will have plenty of handsome beaux to dance with, and a brand new beautiful piano for my Bethy.
I should like that.
So no more fighting, and let's get to work on our play. Beth, play something gruesome for us. Amy, I wrote a new scene for you, and it's wonderful.
Oh no.
It's very simple. All you have to do is shout, "Rodrigo, Rodrigo, save me, save me!" Then faint.
Rodrigo, Rodrigo, save me, save me. Oh, I can't do that. I don't want to make myself all black and blue with throwing myself about the way you do. Besides, I've already designed my costume, and tumbling about would crush my gold paper, jewelry, and crown.
You don't have any jewelry, and you certainly don't have a crown.
And why not? I am a princess, am I not?
But you don't know it. You think you're a sewing girl for Beth, Hagar the Witch.
A princess always knows she's a princess.
Well, you don't. Now, you're locked in the tower when suddenly I, Hugo the villain, enter and you cry out to Rodrigo.
I thought Meg was Don Pedro, my father.
She is, but you don't know it. I've told you a dozen times you haven't the slightest idea of who you are until the end of Act 5.
Oh. Does Meg know?
Of course.
Then I want to know too. Why should I always be the ignorant one?
Because if you know who you are, then the play is over.
Well, it's too long anyway.
Amy, please just do the scene. Besides, it's not polite to correct the author.
Yes, and Joe's a regular Shakespeare.
Well, it's nothing, really. All right, places, everybody. Are you ready? I'm Hugo. Here I come with wicked intentions. Aha! I move closer. Aha!
Come and get your tea, girls.
Why can't we have coffee anymore, Hannah?
Because it's scarce and dear. Ships are needed in time of war. They've got no time to go off to Brazil and bring back coffee for Miss Amy March. And some folks has got nothing better to do with their time than to pry into other folks' business. Who is it, Hannah? That Lawrence boy.
What Lawrence boy?
Mr. Lawrence's grandson. He's come to live with him.
I didn't know the old fussbot had a grandson.
He's just arrived last week. And from what I've heard, he sounds like a fine one.
Why? What has he done?
Well, besides running away from school,
That's the bravest thing I've ever heard.
he was found in the Army registration office. He had lied about his age and tried to join up. Can you imagine?
I certainly can. I should like to do the same thing.
Fine soldier you'd make.
Joe, don't.
Oh, Joe.
It's our private property. I can look out as much as I like.
You're as bad as he is.
Oh, there he is.
Amy, Beth, stand back from the window.
Well, I'm certainly glad he's a boy. I should like to get to know a boy and have some fun for a change.
Don't say such things.
I wonder how I could get to know him. I know, our cat can get lost, and he can bring it back to us.
That doesn't sound very romantic.
Who said anything about romance? Yoo-hoo, over here. Hello? Hello?
Joe, you're disgracing us.
Hello? Hello? That wretched boy. He waved back.
Perhaps now we can draw the curtains and we can finish rehearsing the play.
I suppose.
Where were we?
Rodrigo, save me.
Yes. Well, perhaps if you try it like... Or maybe... Well... It's no use. Do the best you can when the time comes, and if the audience boos, don't blame me.
I'm glad to find you so merry, my
Didn't come
girls.
home for supper.
Marmee, how was your day?
Tired.
Come and sit down.
Has anyone called, Beth? Come and kiss me, baby.
Not today, Marmee. Here, put these on. They're nice and warm.
Thank you, Bethy. Joe, you look tired to death.
No, I'm all right.
Did you see Aunt March about the position yet?
Not yet, Marmee. How was work with the Ladies' Army Aid Auxiliary today?
We're so short on blankets we had to start cutting up carpets to send to the men.
I wouldn't mind sleeping under a carpet if it meant I could join up.
Oh, Joe.
How's your cold, Meg?
Practically gone, Marmee.
Did you see Mrs. King today?
Yes, I start on Monday. $4 a week, Marmee. The house is so lovely, and the children seem so sweet. It won't be like work at all.
I'm so proud of you.
I'll rub your feet for you, Marmee.
Thank you, baby. Joe, be a dear and fetch my muff. I have a surprise for you.
A surprise for Joe?
Well, for all of you, really.
A letter from Father.
A letter from Father?
Sent you all a little Christmas message. Now, who could that be?
From the sound of the pounding, I'd say Aunt March.
Yes, there's her sleigh. I'd like to have a sleigh, and then I wouldn't have to walk everywhere.
Good evening, Aunt March.
Good evening. Not at all, miss. Not at all. It's freezing cold, the dead of winter, and you haven't even shoveled a proper path to the front door. I might have slipped and broken, well, who knows what. Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Aunt March.
Merry Christmas, Aunt March.
So nice of you to visit us tonight.
Yes, come in by the fire.
Thank you. No, I have a fire at home where I should be at this very minute. I only stopped by to bring you these. Meg,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Joe,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Amy,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Beth. Goodness gracious, where is that child?
Here I am, Aunt March.
Oh, my, for pity's sake, stop skulking around like that. I don't like people sneaking about. Come out into the open, I always say.
Thank you, Aunt March.
Far be it from me to complain, but when I was a girl, I made a special point of visiting my aunt's homes to come wish them a Merry Christmas, not the other way around. I didn't force them to leave the comfort of their sitting rooms to travel halfway across town to come visit me.
The girls and I had been planning to visit you tomorrow, Auntie.
Well, tomorrow? Well, we never know if there'll be a tomorrow, now do we? Have you heard from that foolish father of yours, waltzing off to war like that and leaving others to take care of his family? Doesn't he know Lincoln needs fighters to win this war, not worn-out old preachers like himself?
We're very proud of Father, and you should be too.
Joe.
And we don't need anybody to take care of us.
My, aren't we hoity-toity?
Some tea, Aunt March?
No. You would be far better off today if your father had listened to me. I begged him not to invest his money with that swindler. I took one look at him and knew he'd swipe the pennies off of a dead man's eyes. But your father believes he sees the good in every shiftless ne'er-do-well he shakes hands with.
Well, there's no point in dwelling in the past, Auntie, and...
Besides, it was our money that got lost, and it hasn't got anything to do with you.
Don't be impertinent with me, Missy. It's a waste of time talking to you, Miss Josephine March. You're as pig-headed as your father, and you've the common sense of a dizzy cow. It's a waste of time talking to the lot of you. Nobody listens to my good advice. Like talking to a flock of geese. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Aunt March.
Merry Christmas, Aunt March.
Merry Christmas.
Aunt March, wait.
How do you plan to try my patience now, Miss Impertinence?
It's just that I'd like to apologize for my outburst, and I'm willing to bury the hatchet if you are. So what do you say? Aunt March, if the position is still open, I'd like to be your personal companion.
You certainly are a trial, Miss Josephine March. Still, I suppose the devil you know is better than the one you don't. You can come around the house after the holidays if it suits you.
Thank you, Aunt March. You won't be sorry.
Merry Christmas, Josephine.
Well, it's settled.
What is?
I'm Aunt March's new paid companion.
Oh?
I'll read her books, keep her company, and make pleasant conversation.
Pleasant conversation?
When do you begin, dear?
After the holidays.
May we open up our envelopes now, Marmee?
Yes, Amy.
Oh, my, $1. A whole dollar.
Oh my, $1!
How plummy! I can buy a new book. Maybe The Black Avenger.
How I love a new bonnet with ribbons and lace and a long feather.
I'll get a set of favorite drawing pencils and a new sketch pad.
And what will you buy, Bethy?
I would like some new sheet music.
May we run to the shop now, Marmee, before it closes?
All right, girls.
But what about Father's?
Yes, our letter.
First, our letter from Father.
To my loving wife, give my girls a kiss and tell them I think of them by day, pray for them at night, and find my best comfort in their affections at all times. I know that they will remember all I've said, that they will be loving children to you and work diligently so that these hard times need not be wasted. I know they will fight their bosom enemies bravely and conquer themselves so beautifully that when I come back to them, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women.
Ma'am?
Yes, Hannah?
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am, but it's a message from Mrs. Hummel. Wants to know if you can come right away.
Of course, Hannah. Amy, will you get my boots? My wrap, Joe. Don't wait up for me. I might be late. Good night, children.
Marmee ought to have a new pair of slippers. I can make do with the music I have.
No, I'm the man of the house while Papa is gone. I'll provide the slippers.
Beth thought of it first.
Then I'll buy her a pair of new shoes.
Gloves. A fine pair of pink gloves. Maybe, kid.
I'll buy her a bottle of cologne. A small bottle. That won't cost too much, and I'll still be able to buy my pencils.
But, Joe, won't the store be closed by now?
Then we'll storm the Citadel. They'll have to open up for us. Come on.
Christmas was a time for presents once more, presents for our Marmee. Christmas Eve was a flurry of excitement, and we could hardly rest until Christmas morn, when we would share our special gifts.
Christopher Columbus!
Kidney pies.
And popovers and fresh coffee.
And everything!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Hannah.
The table looks beautiful, Hannah.
Heavens, don't know what all this fuss is about. I remember back when I fixed you folks a breakfast like this every morning.
We must have been enormously rich, How was I dressed when we had all that money?
In diapers.
Isn't Marmee up yet?
Oh yes, up and out. On Christmas morning? Where is she? At the Hummels. Poor Mrs. Hummel had her baby early this morning.
The Hummels had another baby?
One baby after another. 6 children, half frozen, huddled together in one bed and no fire. All skin and bones they are. So your mother took her breakfast over there. Now, I believe in charity as much as the next person, but we haven't got anything to spare.
Didn't you see her presents?
Yes, she did, and she's right pleased with them, she was. Now, she said for you to have your breakfast and to go straight on to church. She'll meet you there.
What's the matter, Beth?
I don't feel hungry anymore.
Beth, dear, people are starving everywhere every day. If you let that worry you, then you'll never eat again.
I try not to think about it.
We don't know those people, but we do know the Hummels. We passed their house on the way to church.
What are you saying? Joe, you're not going to give our breakfast to the Hummels, are you? You wouldn't do a thing like that, would you?
I could.
So could I.
Well, it's all or none.
I don't suppose none of us is an option. All right, but I insist on a secret vote.
Oh, Amy.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Oh, fine. Aye.
Good. It's decided then. Let's bundle up.
What's going on then?
Grab your wrap, Hannah. We're off to church, with just one stop along the way.
Land's sakes, is my whole breakfast off to the Hummels then?
The whole breakfast, Hannah.
Well, then I suppose I can spare a cord of wood too.
Oh, Hannah, you're an angel.
I'll carry the popovers. You can take the milk.
No, I'm fine. I can manage perfectly.
I'm sure you can. That's why you're taking the milk. We want to have something left for the Hummels.
Excuse me, miss. I believe you dropped this.
Why, thank you.
Come along, Josephine.
Say, you're that Lawrence boy who lives next door, aren't you?
Yes, I am, Theodore Lawrence. And this is John Brooke, my tutor.
Well, how do you do?
How do you do?
And how do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Joe March, and that's Meg. And the other 3 up the road are Amy, Beth, and Hannah. Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas to you.
We've heard all about you, you know, how you ran away from school and tried to join up. I think it's just plummy.
Josephine, we should be going.
You know, we've seen you watching us through your window, and...
Well, I didn't mean to be rude, but it's so dull at Grandfather's. Dull as the tomb, to be frank. And your home always looks so interesting and fun. Like a picture when all the lamps are lit and you gather around your mother.
Where's your mother?
She died in Europe shortly after my father's death.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I give you leave to watch us anytime you like. And come and join the picture if you feel like it.
Oh, I couldn't. Grandfather would say I was imposing.
Bilgewater. Theodore Lawrence, you are officially invited to call on the March home anytime you like.
Thank you. I will.
Josephine, please.
Honestly, Meg, let's go. Well, goodbye.
For now.
For now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss March.
Josephine March, what would they think of us now? Stopping to talk in the street like that without being properly introduced?
Oh, I don't care, and I'll bet they don't care either. Besides, you certainly weren't very polite. You're getting as prissy as Amy. It wouldn't hurt to say hello.
Not after the way that man stared at me.
What man? Oh, you mean Mr. Brooke? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, I did. Oh my.
What is it?
He's still looking.
Who?
Mr. Brooke. Don't look.
Who, me?
And so ended the first brief encounter with one who would become one of the truest friends our little family would ever know. But as winter began to melt away into spring, I wondered if my invitation to call on us would ever be taken up by young Mr. Lawrence.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Theodore Lawrence calling on Miss Josephine March.
Joe, you've got company. Right this way, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, hello, Theodore.
Please, call me Lori. Everybody else does.
All right, Lori, then.
I expect you'll be wanting some tea?
Yes, Hannah, that would be lovely.
Just as I thought.
Now, do tell me all about yourself before you arrived here in Concord, Mr. Laurie.
I used to live in Europe before my parents.
Europe? How exciting! I'm going there too, you know.
Really? When?
Well, I don't know really, but my Aunt March, what a crotchety old thing she is, has rheumatism, so did I tell you I work as her companion? Well, anyway, the doctor said the baths in Europe might do her some good, so did you ever go to the baths? I mean, for rheumatism.
I don't have rheumatism.
Well, of course not, neither have I, but I figure the baths couldn't do you any harm. What do you think?
Here we are.
Thank you, Hannah.
This one will talk the ear off a stalk of corn if given half the chance.
I don't mind a bit. I like talking.
I hope so, for your sake. Enjoy. Call if you need anything.
Thank you, Hannah. Anyway, I really want to go to Europe for my writing. Travel is so important for a writer. What did you say?
I didn't say a thing.
Oh. Well, how are you getting along with your grandfather?
Oh, fine, I suppose. It's just that...
I know. You should have seen him before you came.
Really? Isn't he a holy terror?
You ought to meet my Aunt March. Slice of cake.
Please, it looks almost too good to eat.
Meg made it.
Is she the oldest? Brooke and I were wondering.
Why should he wonder about her?
He seems quite taken with her. Surely you've noticed. Does she like anyone in particular?
So he sent you to find out for him. Well.
No, I just...
You can tell him we don't like anyone in this family. I mean, we like many different types of people in this family, but we don't like young men. Well, we do like young men, but we don't like young men who wonder about who we like. Meg is just too smart and too young to wonder about who wonders about her.
Perhaps I'd better go.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be all out of sorts. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, how clumsy of me.
Don't worry about it.
Do you really want to go?
No, not really. It's all dull over there, and everything here is so lively.
I'm glad you like it here.
Do you think I could be in one of your plays sometime? Would that be all right?
I'll say. I'd love to have someone else play the villain for a change. I hate wearing the mustache. It makes me sneeze.
I can fence, too.
Really?
A touch, I do confess.
Quit your rollicking. There's someone at the door. Mrs. March! Mrs. March! It's one of those telegraph things.
It's Father.
Oh, Marmee, no.
He's been wounded. He's at a hospital in Washington. I must go at once.
I can ask Grandfather for the carriage to take you to the train station.
You'll need a fare for the training expenses, but we don't have enough in our savings to pay for those things.
I'll go and ask Aunt March.
Quickly, girls. We'll help your mother pack.
The next few hours were spent preparing Marmee for her journey. I set out for Aunt March's house on my self-appointed mission. I thought our request to help Marmee get to Father would be an unpleasant but simple task. I never imagined how my journey would end.
There now, I think that's everything. Don't forget these.
I wonder what could be keeping Joe.
The carriage is waiting outside, and Grandfather sent along a bottle of port for Mr. March.
Thank you, Laurie, and give my kindest regards to your grandfather. Beth, place this carefully in my traveling satchel.
Yes, Marmee.
Careful not to shake it.
Where's Joe?
Well, where is she? Where is she? Where is that foul-tempered daughter of yours?
I thought she was with you, Aunt March.
Not likely, not after her last visit. Here, take this. Lord knows you'll need more than you asked for. One can only guess what you'll find once you get there.
Thank you so very much, Auntie.
Oh, pish-posh and twaddle. You're too sentimental, you are. Now, you know how to get there? You change trains in New York, horrid city, and then you...
I don't believe that'll be necessary, ma'am. Mr. Lawrence has asked me to accompany Mrs. March on the train to see that she gets to Washington safely.
That's terribly kind, but really there's no need.
It would be my great pleasure to be of service to you and your family, Mrs. March. Besides, Mr. Lawrence has already engaged some work for me to complete for him while I'm there, so you see...
That you're all terribly kind. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Then with your permission, I'll load your luggage for you and wait for you outside in the carriage.
Thank you, Mr. Brooke.
I want to apologize for being less than neighborly in the past. You've been very kind, Mr. Brooke. You don't know what a relief it is to know that Marmee has someone to look after her.
Thank you, Miss March. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What on earth is keeping that child?
At least finish your tea while you're waiting, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. Bethy, see that you don't forget the Hummels while I'm away.
No, Marmee, I won't. I promise.
Well, someone might remember me once in a while too for a change. Well, I hope everything turns out okay, but I doubt it.
Goodbye, Aunt March.
Goodbye, Aunt March.
Aunt March.
Yes, miss, here I am, and no thanks to you. I had to get up, get dressed, and ride over here all by myself because you're so stubborn. Well, you certainly don't get that from my side of the family. Good day, Miss Josephine March.
Where have you been? Marmee was worried sick. We all were.
Yes, what could have kept you this long?
Well, I went by Aunt March, and she croaked like she always does when someone asks her to open her purse, and, well, I couldn't take it. There he is, her own nephew, sick in the hospital, and all she can do is complain about money. So, well, I lost my temper, and here's my contribution.
$25? Where on earth did you get it, Joe?
I came by it honestly. I only sold what belonged to me.
Oh,
your
my
beautiful
gosh,
hair.
Joe!
What did you do?
Well, goodness gracious, it doesn't affect the State of the Union. I just happened by the wig makers and saw some tails of hair in the window with the price tags on them, and so I thought it might do me some good to have my mop cut off too. So I did.
Thank you, Joe.
Are you ready, Mrs. March? We'll need to hurry now if we... Christopher Columbus, what happened?
Well, I don't mind it.
It will grow back and be just as beautiful as before, but you'll never be more beautiful to me than you are right now.
I like it.
It will be easy to keep up.
And it's, well, strangely becoming.
We'll need to hurry now, Mrs. March.
You can't miss your train.
Yes, you're right.
Can we go with you?
No, it's best if you stay here and carry on as usual. Remember to comfort one another. And Meg, you'll watch over your sisters? Try to be more patient, Joe. And Bethy, dear, don't forget the Hummels.
I won't, Marmee, I promise.
Amy, be obedient. Goodbye, my darlings. I'll keep this picture of you in my mind. God bless and keep us all.
Oh, my poor Joe, you're crying.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
It'll be all right, dear. Marmee has Mr. Brooke to look after her, and Father's a strong man, I'm sure.
No, I'm not crying because of that.
Well, what is it then?
My hair. Father's convalescence in that Washington hospital lasted many months, and life in our little home soon found a simple, domestic pattern in Marmee's absence. Our friendship with Laurie continued to grow, and the surprising support and neighborly friendship of his grandfather was a boon to all our spirits. I had worked furiously at my scribblings during that summer and had begun sending off some of my manuscripts to publishers. Then an important letter arrived for me that fall.
Now I'll find out what you've been up to with all your scribbling lately. Is this why you haven't had any time for me lately?
Return it now, Mr. Lawrence, or never speak to me again.
Fine, just like a girl. First you say we'll never have any secrets, and this?
This is different.
It's still a secret.
No.
Fine, you can keep it, because I've got one too.
Oh, bilge water.
And it's plummy.
Very?
Very.
Fine, if that's the game you're going to play. You tell me yours and I'll tell you mine. Oh, fine, read it yourself.
Pay to the order of Miss Josephine March. $1 for her story entitled The Phantom Hand.
Well, what do you think of that?
$1?
Oh, go on, laugh, but that's just the start. Someday I'll get as high as 10.
I swear I'll never understand you. Cooped up in that attic every spare minute, writing away, missing out on all the fun we could be having, and for what? A measly $1? If it's money you want, Joe, I've got plenty of it.
Oh, it's not the money, not really. It's a feeling I get, a strange, nervous feeling on the inside. It's my story, and soon it will be in print. People will read it, something I wrote.
Well, I don't understand it, but if it makes you happy, I suppose.
All right, now play fair, Teddy. What's your secret?
I know where Meg's missing glove is.
Is that all?
Ask me where it is.
Where is it?
Brooke has it.
How do you know?
Saw it.
Where?
His pocket. He found it the night they danced at grandfather's party. Isn't that romantic?
No, it's rubbish.
I thought you'd be pleased.
Pleased? At the thought of someone taking Meg away? Why do things always have to change just when they seem perfect? Meg used to share everything with me. Now she keeps to herself and thinks that John is a lovely name and brown eyes are beautiful. Well, I think it's sickly, sentimental, romantic rubbish, and he'd better not try and break our family up.
You'd feel different when someone comes to take you away.
I'd like to see someone try it. I'll die a spinster rowing my own canoe before I let any man catch me.
I'll catch you, Josephine March.
Never.
Hey!
Good afternoon, Miss Josephine. Good afternoon, Master Theodore.
Thank you for the assistance this afternoon, John.
My pleasure.
Goodbye, Mr. Rook.
Yes, well, goodbye, John.
Goodbye, Meg.
I've never been so embarrassed in all of my days. When are you going to stop behaving like a child?
Not until I'm old and stiff and need a crutch. Don't try and make me grow up before my time, Meg. It's hard enough having you change all of a sudden. Let me be a little girl as long as I can.
I haven't changed a bit, but you need to stop your romping ways. Just look at you. No hairpins, no combs, running down a public road like a loose horse.
I wish I were a horse.
Oh, you're such a child!
Well, I should go, I suppose. Joe, why are you mad at me?
Hannah? Hannah, where's Hannah?
Beth, what's the matter?
No, don't come near me. I feel so tired. Please, get Hannah.
Hannah, come quickly!
What happened, Joe?
Don't come near me, Meg.
What is it?
Oh, Joe, the baby's dead. The little humble baby died in my lap.
Oh, my poor Bethy.
She seemed asleep, but suddenly she gave a cry and trembled and lay very still. I tried to warm her feet, but she lay so still and I knew she was dead.
It's not your fault.
The doctor came. He said it was scarlet fever.
Oh, Beth.
Come and lie down on the...
No, Amy, don't come near me. You've never had it. I feel so strange.
Joe, help me get her to her room.
I'm all right. I'll be fine.
Of course, Bethy, of course you will.
Meg, run and get Dr. Bangs. Yes, Hannah, right away. And you, miss, are to stay clear of things down here. We'll send you off to your Aunt March for a spell for your own good.
I won't go. I won't. I would rather have scarlet fever and die than stay with Aunt March.
For heaven's sake, be quiet for once in your life, Amy.
You should be off as soon as you can. Scarlet fever is no joke, miss.
But it's still at Aunt March's. And she's cross and I don't want to be sent off as if
It's for
I'm
your own
away.
protection. I'll tell you what, I have a plan. I'll drop by every day to tell you how Beth is.
Will you take me out driving?
Every single day, on my honor.
And bring me back the minute Beth is well?
The identical minute. See if I don't.
Well, all right then.
That's a good girl.
The days dragged out slowly into weeks. Meg and Hannah and I kept a constant vigil near Beth's bedside. We sensed the slightest change in her person. Amy's notes arrived daily, but nothing could relieve our anxiety and sorrow as we began to sense just how fragile Beth's hold on life had become.
Hannah? I just came by to see how she was doing today.
Dr. Bangs had expected the fever to break by now. I'm afraid we'll need to send for Mrs. March as soon as Meg returns.
Oh, Hannah.
You children begged me to telegram her weeks ago, but I was afraid of fretting her just yet. But now the doctor says the end may be very close and Miss Beth seems weaker every minute.
Hannah?
Yes, miss.
Joe.
She doesn't even recognize us. How I wish Marmee were here. She'd know what to do.
It's all right, Joe. You can hold on to me. I'll be strong for you.
If only I'd sent that telegram.
Joe, Marmee will be here soon.
No, she won't. How could she be? There isn't time.
I got fidgety and so did Grandfather, so we sent Brooke back to fetch her. She'll be here on the 5 o'clock train.
Marmee here? In a few hours?
Yes, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Lori. Lori, if life is as hard as this, I don't think I'll ever get through it.
We'll laugh and have fun and games like the old times, you'll see.
I hope so, Lori, I truly do.
Well, I'm off to the station and I shan't spare the horses.
Please, Lord, if you must take Bethy, please wait until Marmee gets home. But please, Lord, please don't take her because she's such a... Well, please don't.
Yes, exactly as you say, Dr. Bangs. The fever's broken.
Oh, thank heavens.
He says she's certain to pull through now.
Oh, Hannah, I don't think I'll ever complain about another thing for as long as I live.
We're to give her lots of milk for strength. As soon as she's able, we'll have her well on the road to recovery and a slap and a bang, miss.
Oh, Hannah, you truly are an angel. What about Amy?
Sent for as soon as the doctor said. Is Beth resting now?
Yes, I'll have all her old linen strip and fresh ones on in just a few minutes.
We're going to have plenty of warm milk for her.
Yes, Hannah.
Marmee! She's going to be all right. The doctor said she's going to get well.
Everything will be all right now. Oh, Marmee, you're home.
Bethy?
Oh, Marmee, I thought you look so beautiful.
Amy!
I came straight away like your note said, Marmee.
She's going to recover. Our Bethy is going to recover.
Oh, Beth, you have no idea how worried I was about you. I thought about you all day and night. I even wrote a will.
A will?
Yes, just in case I got sick too. You shouldn't laugh. I left you my sketch pad, my plaster rabbit, and my bronze inkstand.
Well, that's very thoughtful.
Of course, since I didn't die, no one gets anything.
Pardon me, is this the march home?
It is indeed.
Then I have a special delivery for you.
Father!
Meg, Hannah, Amy, Joe. And now my dear, dear Bethy.
Well, this is plummy, just plummy. The March family all together again. I call this splendid, really I do. As the years passed, Father and Beth gradually regained much of their old strength. Yet Bethy seemed more fragile than before, and all but Father acknowledged this. The bonds of friendship with our neighbors, the Lawrences, grew ever stronger until Lori seemed almost one of the family. One member of the Lawrence household seemed truly bent on joining our little family. More disturbing still was the fact that Meg seemed all too willing to oblige his little whim.
What are you doing?
Writing?
Well, I can see that. I meant, what are you working on?
I'm not sure, but it looks like it may very well become a tragedy, depending on what the heroine decides.
Well, do keep me posted.
I'll do my best.
Will you be using this room for much longer?
Why? Are you expecting someone?
Of course not.
You are. You're expecting that man, aren't you?
Don't be foolish, and if you happen to be referring to Mr. Brooke, you...
I knew it. You think you're in love with him, don't you?
Well, I hadn't...
Well, I can tell you right now, you're not.
I'm not?
Of course not. I'm a writer, and I write about girls who are in love all the time. So I can tell you, you have none of the signs. You eat well, you sleep fine, and you're never depressed. Clearly, you're not in love. So, there's no need for you to go off and do anything foolish, like marrying that man.
Well, I don't intend to marry any man.
You don't? Well, cheers for you, Meg March.
Well, now.
What are you going to tell him? You should decide what you want to say to him, because it wouldn't be polite to just send him packing.
Well, I have no intention of being rude. Oh, really, this is so silly. Who says he'll ask for my hand at all? If he does, I will just say to him, quite calmly and politely, I'm afraid I must agree with Marmee. I'm too young to enter into an engagement right now. But thank you, Mr. Brooke. You are most kind. I hope that we can continue to be good friends. How's that?
Good and stiff. That should throw him off the track. Just hand him his walking papers and things can get back to normal around here.
It's him, Joe. I just know it.
I'll clear out of the way. Just don't forget cool and stiff. How I'd love to see his face. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooke. Meg is in the sitting room. She's been expecting you.
Oh, really? Well, I'd only stopped by because I'd forgotten my umbrella, and I thought I might speak with your father, too.
He's in the coat rack. It's reading the paper. I'll go tell him you're here.
Is something the matter, Meg? Have I upset you somehow? Please, don't be angry with me.
How could I be? You've been so kind to our family. I only wish I could find some way to thank you properly.
Shall I tell you how?
Please don't.
Meg, please listen to me. I love you. And even if you don't love me now, perhaps in time you might learn.
I don't choose to learn. Please go away and leave me alone.
Do you truly mean that?
Yes, I do.
Please, just think about it. I'll wait.
I wish you wouldn't. No, please.
Meg,
What's this? What's going on here?
He's just a friend of Father's. I'm so surprised to see you.
That's evident. There's mischief going on here, and I insist on knowing what it is.
We were just talking. Mr. Brooke came for his umbrella, you see, and...
Brooke? That boy's tutor? I see it all now. He's proposed, hasn't he?
Please, he'll hear you. Shall I call Father?
Have you accepted him? Do you intend on marrying this cook?
Please.
Not until I speak my mind. Now you listen here, miss. If you marry this hook or rook or crook, not a penny of my money goes to you.
I shall marry whom I please, Aunt March. And you can leave your money to anyone you please.
Now be a reasonable girl. It is your duty to marry a rich man and help your family. You can be sure that this hook fellow knows you have a rich relation, me, and that's why he wants to marry you.
How dare you say such a thing? My John would no more marry for money than I would.
Highty-tighty, aren't we, Miss Independence? Well, you'll be sorry for it when you've tried love in a cottage and find it a failure.
It can't be worse than what finds in a big empty house.
Well, I never. Well, you do as you please. You see where my good advice gets me? But remember, the day you marry him is the day I disinherit you. Now well, you made me forgot what I came here for, Miss Insolence. I wash my hands of you, of the lot of ya.
Meg, I couldn't help hearing. Thank you for defending me. And thanks to Aunt March for helping prove you do care about me a little bit.
I didn't know how much till she said all those dreadful things.
Meg, will you wait for me?
Soon summer was upon us, and sooner still was John and Meg's wedding day. Our lives were so full with preparations and plans for the wedding that we scarcely had time to think about the void that would be left in our little house on the day of Meg's departure. But that day came at last, and with it those same feelings of joy and loss that attend the members at most weddings.
Joe, come back! Don't cry, Joe. It'll all be all right.
No, it won't. Our family will never be the same again.
You still have me.
I know, Teddy. You don't know how much I appreciate that. My dear, dear boy. Now then, I've had my silly scene. We should return to the party before we're missed.
No, not yet, Joe. There's something I must tell you.
No, Teddy, please don't.
I will. And this time you must listen. The sooner the better for both of us.
Say what you like then. I'll listen.
I have loved you ever since I met you, Joe. Couldn't help it. I've tried to show you, but you wouldn't let me. And now, you must hear it, and you must give me an answer.
I wanted to save you from this. I never wanted you to care for me this way. I tried to keep you from it when I could.
And I only loved you more for it. I've been trying to tell you, well, ever since I came back from college.
I know.
Look, I know I'm not half good enough, but if you love me, you can make me into anything that you like.
I wouldn't change you, Lori, not for the world. It's you who'd have to change me. You should marry someone lovely and accomplished, who'll adore you and grace your fine house. I couldn't. I loathe the social whirl, and you like it. You hate my scribbling, and I couldn't get on without it. In the end, we'd quarrel and...
No, we...
Yes, we always have. It would be horrid if we were ever foolish enough to...
Marry? It would be heaven if we took a chance. Please don't disappoint me. Everyone expects it. Grandpa has his heart set on you, and your family too. Joe, I can't go on without you. Say you will, Joe. Marry me.
I can't. Oh, Lori, I'm sorry. I've tried to love you the way you want because I'm so proud and fond of you, and I do love you. I love you so dearly as a friend, but I could never love you as a wife. It would be a lie to say I do when I don't.
Really and truly, Joe?
Really and truly. I don't believe I shall ever marry. I love my liberty too much to give it up for any man.
Yes, you will. I know you. You'll meet some no-account, good-for-nothing idiot and fall in love. It's your way. You'll work and live and die for him. And I'll watch.
No, Lori, you're wrong. Where are you going?
Why, Joe, why have you locked yourself away like this? You were missed. Meg and John want you there to see them off.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marmee. I felt tired and I needed to be alone for a while.
Well, all right then.
Marmee, what sort of plans do you have for us?
Plans, dear?
Yes. You know how some mothers have plans for their daughters, wanting them to marry a rich man or something. You asked me the other day what my wishes were. Well, I'll tell you as soon as I've heard what you want.
Well, I suppose I wish a good many things, no different from anyone else. I want my children to be admired and loved and respected. I want you to lead good and useful lives. I pray life sends you as little sorrow as possible. Of course, I'm ambitious for you. Like any other mother, I'd be happy to see you marry a rich man, if you loved him. But I would rather see you happy as a poor man's wife or a spinster than watch you lose your self-respect and happiness in a loveless marriage, even if it made you the queen of the world.
Oh, thank you, Marmee, thank you.
What's this?
I knew I chose right. I'm never getting married. Ever.
Oh, really, dear?
No. Now I'll tell you what I want. I want to go away.
What? Why, Joe,
I've thought about it a while, and I want to do something new. I'm restless, and I need to be out seeing and doing. I want to hop a little ways and try out my wings.
Well, where do you intend to hop?
New York.
Joe!
Amy can take care of Aunt March now. They're more compatible anyhow. You have Beth to help, and, well, I thought I might go to work at Mrs. Kirk's. She's looking for someone to help with the children, and with so much to see and hear, I'll get tons of new ideas for my stories.
Joe, dear, be sure that you're running to something and not away from something. Or someone. Is it Lori?
Oh, Marmee, he's gotten this romantic rubbish into his head, and I thought it would blow over, but it's only gotten worse.
But how do you feel about it?
I love him dearly as a friend, so I think if I go away for a while, he'll get over it, and one day things can go back to the way they were. I just know I don't want to make a mistake.
You're right, Joe. I think it might be best for both of you. I'll write to Miss Kirk, and if Father agrees, it can be managed. You shall go.
Thank you, Marmee.
Now come along, dear, and see Meg and John off to their honeymoon.
All right, Marmee. Working at Mrs. Kirk's boarding house was one of the most exhausting and exhilarating experiences that I have known. New York flooded my mind with new sights and new friends, the most important of whom, Professor Fritz Baer. I shared so many thoughts and ideals similar to my own that I felt I had found a true kindred spirit. However, in the midst of my newfound fortunes, fate was going to spring a rude surprise, which was the consequence of my abominable tongue.
Good afternoon, Mrs. March. I'll show you right in.
Show yourself in and don't bother to announce me. the most remarkably slow woman I've ever had the misfortune to meet. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I expect you'll be wanting a spot of tea then?
Good gracious, no. I'll have completed my business here, driven to town, and finished my afternoon calls before you can capably warm a pot.
Very good, ma'am.
Well, now to the point. I'm going abroad next month to Europe, and as I've discussed in the past, I shall require a proper traveling companion.
We'll wire for Joe immediately, Auntie.
Joe? Oh, good heavens, no. I said a proper traveling companion. That one has such a blunt disposition, she'd put a freeze on foreign relations for the next decade. Goodness, no.
But, Auntie...
No arguments, please. I'm quite decided about this. Amy will accompany me. We're more similar in temperament. Amy is docile and respectful and will receive this opportunity graciously and without a sense of entitlement.
Auntie, I don't...
Hush, my child. Any excuses would be stuff and nonsense. My mind is made up. Besides, it's time you had a chance to try your talents. Rome will be just the place for you to study your art.
We don't know how to thank you, Auntie.
This will be an exceptional opportunity.
Oh, pish-posh.
Thank you, Auntie.
Nonsense, nonsense, my dear. Well, I'm off to town now to begin our preparations. Good afternoon. You'll call on me tomorrow, so we can begin arrangements for your traveling wardrobe.
Goodbye, Aunt
Goodbye.
March. Goodbye, and thank you again, Aunt March.
Europe will do you a world of good, child. A world of good.
Oh, Marmee.
Poor Joe.
Aunt March is quite decided. It would be wrong for us to try to change her wishes. There will be no undoings for Joe this time.
But you'd be dreadfully disappointed. How will I ever explain it to her?
Let's not spoil your good fortune right now with those concerns. Joe will have a reward someday, and it will be every bit as unexpected and wonderful as yours.
Father's right. No reproaches and no regrets. You can stop in New York before you sail and see her personally, if that will help.
Yes, Marmee. That would be a comfort.
I hate to be selfish, but I'm glad that Joe isn't traveling quite so far away from us just yet. It's hard enough to bear with her off in New York.
Yes, dear, I know.
Well, enough conversation for now. We have some preparations to begin.
Amy's visit was a comfort for both of us. Her gentle ways and thoughtful words did much to ease the pain of losing my long-anticipated European tour. Aunt March informed me that Laurie and Mr. Lawrence had also booked passage to the continent. However, during those long days before they set sail, no calling card from my dear Teddy ever arrived. Laurie's intended slight wounded me every bit as deeply as he had hoped, but no experience in my early life had prepared me for the telegram I received several months later. So it was with a strange mix of emotions that I returned home to Concord after reading that urgent message.
Has Joe arrived yet? No, child. Your father took the carriage to meet her at the station.
Is there anything we can do to help you right now?
Land's sakes, no. There's little bit enough for me to do as it is. The house has been so empty with Joe gone, and now with Amy off, and Beth...
Oh, has the telegram been sent already?
Straight away. Same day as Miss Josephine's. Amy's answer seemed to come back as soon as she received it. Already headed back, she was, but your parents wouldn't allow it. Too long and costly a trip. And it wouldn't be fair to Aunt March, as though that Biddy worried about anyone but herself. The poor dear.
She must be heartsick.
That she is. But Mr. Lawrence sent word that he and Laurie would be meeting them in Nice, and they would do their best to keep her mind off things. I'm sure they will. Laurie is such a comfort. Joe, you're here at last.
Oh, Meg, Hannah.
I'll take your luggage upstairs for you.
The house has been so empty without you. Put the kettle on, Hannah. I'll fetch Marmee and Beth.
Oh, Papa, what can we do? I feel so alone. There must be something.
Nothing. It's just a matter of time now, Joe. The most important thing is for us to be brave for her sake. There. We mustn't let her see us cry.
I know, Father. I'll be strong for Bethy.
I know you will. I know. I could never doubt you for a moment, my brave girl.
Marmee.
Joe, dear, it's so good to have you home again.
Oh, Beth, my Beth. How I've missed you.
I've been longing to see you, Joe, and here you are, just like I dreamed. If Amy were here, we'd all be together again.
Oh, Beth.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
Yes, John, you're right. We must be getting back to the twins now. I'll bring them round in the morning for a visit if you'd like.
Oh, yes, I'm so eager to meet them.
Until tomorrow, then.
Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, now, Beth, I've got so much to tell you, I hardly know where to begin.
We'll leave the two of you to your catching up then.
Good night, girls.
Marmee.
Good night, Beth. Good night, Joe.
Good night, Father. Well then, presents first. There you are.
Oh, Joe, you're so thoughtful.
Well, wind it up. I thought it could accompany you while you play, since you haven't had me to croak along with you lately.
I don't play anymore.
Oh. I almost forgot to tell you what I've been working on. A book.
A whole novel?
Yup.
May I read it?
Well, I actually don't have it on hand right now. You see, I finished it right before I left.
Oh, when will it be published?
Oh, who knows? I didn't leave it with a publisher. I left it with Professor Bear.
You must be very fond of him.
I am. You see, he's the reason I wrote the book. He told me it was time for me to write about the people and places and things I know, instead of a bunch of made-up people in places I've never seen.
Did you?
Yes, Bethy, I did.
What's your book about?
You, Bethy. Well, all of us, really. Our little family and all the happy times we used to share.
It's all right, Joe. It's all right. You don't have to cry.
Oh, I'm not crying. Not really. I'm just so lonesome. Lonesome for Meg and Amy and all of our happy times together.
It's all right, Joe. You don't have to be brave for me. I know. Don't tell Father or Marmee, but I know. I haven't wanted to tell anyone but you, my Joe. But I can feel myself slip a little each day, like the tide going out.
Don't say it, please, Bethy.
Doesn't that sound funny? Me telling you. Me, the cricket, by the hearth, always content to stay safely at home, while you, Meg and Amy, dream of flying away. I suppose it's my turn to fly away for the first time. I'm sorry, Joe. I can't express myself properly. But it seems like I never intended to live very long. I could never plan what I would do when I grew up because I couldn't bear the thought of leaving home. But I'm not afraid, Joe. I'm not anymore. Because love is the only thing we can carry with us when we go. And I have so much I know. It will make it easy. But Joe, I think I may be homesick for you, even in heaven.
Nothing can part us, Bethy. Not really, not ever.
It's all right, Joe. It's all right. But, Joe, you must take my place for Mother and Father. They will turn to you. Help them through this.
I will. Bethy, you know I will.
Yes, Joe. I know. Thank you. I feel that I can rest now.
Henceforth, safe across the river, I shall see forevermore a beloved household spirit waiting for me on the shore. Hope and faith, born of my sorrow, guardian angels shall become, and the sister gone before me, by her hands, shall lead me home. With Beth's passing came the fulfillment of my promise to her, and each passing day filled our thoughts with the brief but special memories of our time with her. Often I awoke at night thinking Beth had called me, but when the sight of her empty bed brought me to tears, Marmee's arms were always there to gather me up, soothe me with their touch and their silent eloquence. Yet each day slowly lost some of its bitter pain as her memory was rendered more serene, and with the turning of the seasons, time brought new life and unexpected change into the March household once more.
Joe, Hannah and I are heading over to Meg's to greet the wedding party. Father and John are driving them there, straight from the station. I know Amy is eager to see you. She and Lori missed us all so much at their wedding in Nice. Won't you reconsider and come with us?
I'll be fine, Marmee. Besides, someone has to keep the home fires burning until the entourage arrives here. Besides, I'll be seeing Aunt March soon enough.
I suppose you're right. I just worry so. We've all had to bear so much lately, but I find my mind wandering to you more and more lately. Are you all right, Joe? I know how disappointed you were when Aunt March took Amy in your place, and then, well...
Bethy.
Yes, Bethy. Is it the marriage, Joe?
Oh, no, I'm not upset about that. Things worked out just the way they should have. I've just been feeling a little lonely lately. lonely and sad for things that can never be the way they were again. Perhaps if Laurie had proposed to me now, I might have said yes, just because lately it means more to me to be loved than it used to.
Oh, Joe, your time will come.
No, Marmee, I don't think I'll ever marry.
You've always known what you wanted, Joe, and you've had the courage to follow through. Your time will come soon enough, and it will be right because you've known all along what you've been waiting for.
We've got to shake our tail feathers, Mrs. March, unless you want to miss their arrival.
Yes, Hannah, I'm coming. Joe, dear, put the kettle on and we'll be back with the newlyweds before you know it.
Come in.
Guess who?
Laurie! Oh, my Teddy, it's so good to see you. You're here already? Where is everyone? Marmee and Hannah just started over and...
They're still at Meg's. I slipped out because I wanted to see you first. Joe, just let me say one thing and then we'll move on from it forever.
You don't need to say it, Laurie. It was meant to be.
I know that now.
You were so headstrong and certain then.
Now that everything's settled around here, things can just go back to the way they used to be.
No, the old days can never come back. We aren't playmates anymore. We're man and woman now. But we can be brother and sister and love and help each other for the rest of our lives.
Always, Joe.
Where is she? Where's my old Joe?
Oh, Amy. Or should I say Mrs. Lawrence? Just look at you.
Blessed is she in silk from head to foot, and with a new Paris bustle to boot.
Oh, Joe, can you ever forgive us? We've left thee with so many burdens to bear. But never again.
Oh, Amy, just look at you. To think that I should ever see the day when you would turn our dear Teddy into a henpecked husband.
No welcome home for me, Miss Congeniality.
Of course, Aunt March. It's good to have you home again.
Not at all. Not at all. Look at me, spending all that money on those fancy foreign doctors and medicinal baths. For what? To come home on a day like today. Oh, my rheumatism. You know, Europe isn't at all like what they say. It was so foreign. They simply refused to speak to me in English. Just babbled on and on. But they understood me. Oh, I have no doubt. Just wouldn't listen to me.
Things are the same all over the world. I'll go lay out a tea service, ma'am.
Thank you, Hannah.
Now tell me all about Europe.
What is there to tell? There's nothing but a wretched collection of broken down buildings and filthy streets.
But in Europe, one finds the dirt so picturesque.
Charmingly put, Mrs. Lawrence.
Yes, my wife has quite a way with words.
We're all familiar with it, Mr. Lawrence.
Now tell us what your plans are once you two have settled in.
Well...
I shouldn't wonder if she drove 6 white horses, ate off gold plates, and wore diamonds every day, since Teddy thinks nothing's too good for her.
Oh, Joe, really?
This is for you, Miss Josephine. It just arrived by post.
I wasn't expecting...
Well, open it, Joe. Let's see what it is.
It's my book!
Oh, Joe.
It's from Professor Bear. A friend of mine here in New York has agreed to publish your wonderful novel. He has great hopes for it. And so it is with deepest regards and best wishes that I send you the first copy. I have never read another piece with such simple truth and beauty. Fondly, Fritz Bear.
Your first book!
That's my Joe.
I'm so
So
proud of you.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Little Women by Josephine March.
Read for us, Joe.
Oh no, really, I can't.
Go on, Joe.
Please,
Go on,
Joe.
Joe,
Go
go
on.
on.
Dedicated with love to my sister Beth. My mind drifts back to that Christmas Eve so long ago, when nothing in our little home seemed wrong, and nothing in the world outside seemed right.